Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh, shit.
it's whiteout season. It's week 1. We made it, folks. We are here. It is football in like 50 hours. Coop, what's
Crazy.
up, buddy?
What's up, dude? Yo, I know we have a whole show sheet here, but I just want to skip straight to making DFS lineups. Let's just skip everything, dude, and just do some DraftKings, right? Like, it's football, baby. It's football.
Yes, we are transitioning from it. I mean, it's still technically best ball season because the Puppy 4 came out yesterday. I think BBM is still in like its last like couple percent to fill, and some other drafters and they're gonna hit their overlays, but like it's DFS season now. So if you want to just go right into it, because we're sickos and we want to jump right into everything. Let's do some DFS stuff.
Do you want to let's talk just a little week 1 and then let's just make DFS.
Let's
that's what I actually
feed.
Yeah, we'll do a little bit. So week 1, man, I just let's skip right to your favorite matchups, right? Like, what is the best matchup, and especially in the context of DFS, where that's where the money's made. Give me an obvious one, Kev, and then maybe we can talk about some of the kind of sleeper games to pick from.
I mean, obvious. If we're not talking about the island games,
main slate,
Chargers and Dolphins.
That's
like has to be you're starting everybody that has a pulse that's going to be on the field in that game. I would say the only, if you have to think about it, I guess Gerald Everett would be like the only guy you're maybe have a question about. But other than that, you're starting all the pass catchers. You might be starting Johnston, but you're starting all the quarterbacks. You're starting, Eckler. You're starting Raheem Mostert. You might sneak in an HA in there if you're really desperate and you got hit hard by the Jonathan Taylor bug. But this game might just shoot out. I mean, we're looking at the second in the main slate, 47.5 point over under right now. Or I'm sorry, actually live, it's 51 now. That's what it opened at and went up 3.5 points.
The real question is Jalen Waddle, man, because like that, I love, especially in cash games where it's just, you're not trying to win a big tournament. You just need the safest, best possible players. I love how the Dolphins, they roll out Durham Smythe, who is soaking up snaps. You want as many players in the field that are soaking up snaps, but not targets, right? Because that consolidates the targets among the guys we want. So when they roll out Durham Smythe and Alec Ingold last year was playing like 40% of the snaps, the fullback. When they roll those two guys out, dude, there's only so many places for the ball to go. So that's why I love Waddle. I love Tyreek Hill in cash games. The problem is if there's no Waddle, now you got Tyreek Hill out there by himself going up against a pretty good secondary. Is there would you consider they cut Chosen Anderson or Robin Chosen or Chosen Robbie wrote an I or Y? I honestly don't even care what it is.
Whatever point. He goes by this week.
Right. Whatever he goes by right now. Like they released him, signed him to the practice squad, but that means he's not going to play. Is there a guy that you would sneak in lineups if Waddle's a no-go?
It's tough, man, because we know how condensed this offense is. And then if you're leaving Tyreek Hill out there by himself, he could easily get bracketed. I mean, Tyreek Hill has the ability to just win no matter what, but it's so barren outside. I mean, I guess Braxton Berrios, and he can't be more than 3,200 on DraftKings right now. I haven't looked at it, but
that's more of a big play.
Or like a huge, if you're stacking your lineup and you want to punt somewhere.
Right. Now, you have Xavier Howard and then Eli Apple, who, I mean, man, if I can get as many matchups against Eli Apple as possible, sign me up for that. But do you start Mike Williams or Keenan Allen if you're going to go that way?
I mean, geez, I know the big play potential Mike Williams. I think I'm still starting Keenan Allen though. I'd have to take a look at the price difference between the two. Let's pull it up right now. Because we're talking.
Just get it on the screen. And real quick, but while we're doing that, Philly Mike OG in the chat says, "Please help. I have Kenny Pickett, Jimmy G, and Anthony Richardson. Which two do I start? If this was a single QB league, I might in one of my single QB leagues, I have Anthony Richardson, but I'm starting Jared Goff in the shootout game with the Chiefs. Richardson for me was a long-term pick. I want to see it first, but in a 2 QB league, you're just starting Anthony Richardson, right?
Yeah, I think 2 quarterback. I think you kind of have to play him at that point.
So it's Kenny Pickett or Jimmy. Like you can't roll out Kenny Pickett and Jimmy G as your 2 quarterbacks week 1, dude. That is lying down a little. Even me, I like to play conservative. I think that's lying down a little too too quick.
Yeah, you're cutting yourself off at the knees at that point. I think.
I think you start Jimmy G, man. I don't this the scariest game on the slate, and the one I'm avoiding completely, is the 49ers Steelers game. I've never seen a game have so many fantasy relevant assets, quote unquote fantasy relevant assets that we're depending on, that has a 40-point over under.
Right.
To put it in perspective, the Cardinals Commanders game has a 39-point over under, and the over under for that Pitt 49ers one is 40.5, and it opened at 41.5. It's going down. The sharp money is coming in on betting the under over there. So you got all these fantasy relevant assets playing in a game that might just be bad. And I think the Steelers can win that game. So
100%.
Yeah. So for me, I think you take Kenny Pickett, put him aside, and start Jimmy G and Anthony Richardson, and just go with the highest risk, highest reward move.
Yeah, I like that. And let's pull up the DraftKings here. So we've got this pulled up for the Fantasy Football Millionaire, million of first. Obviously,
Can you zoom a little bit, like control plus sign there? We don't need all that other stuff up there.
Yeah, let me
get it as close as possible. We don't need the rest
there. We're getting there. Look at that. Boom. Let me get this.
What is that Johnny Munt lineup, dude?
That's the placeholder.
I was gonna say.
I actually purposely put Johnny Munt. That's the closest Johnny Munt will ever get to a DFS lineup.
Yeah, obviously, dude. Get him out of there. Get him out. They have Josh Oliver now. They paid him a ton of money. So Johnny Munt. The Johnny Munt days, they never happened, but if they did happen, they'd be over.
Yeah, exactly. So we were originally, because Britt, we want you to feel better. I know you're a little under the weather this week, but we originally were going to do this as a kind of a rotating, you make one pick, we go down the list, but it's just you and me, buddy. So I will extend the olive branch to you. If you're going to be doing this, because this is a GPP, we're talking 1 million entries once the main slate kicks off on Sunday. So.
Well, I got a player usually. So my DFS tight end article comes out on Thursdays. That one's behind the paywall for Fantasy Alarm members, but for people that tune into our show, we like to give away some free picks from those articles. So I'm willing to give one right now. A guy that I'm fully in on, and it's actually, we talked about the Chargers Dolphins, but the more I think about it, with like Waddle being potentially out in the corners in that game, I don't know if I love that game as much as I like the idea of this Bengals Browns game. I think the Browns could outright win this game, and it opened at +2.5. Now it's +1. And I was talking to Corey Parson yesterday. He was very sharp on the betting side of things. He thinks it could potentially flip all the way to the point where it's either a pick 'em or the Browns are favored come Sunday. So in this game, I like the idea of starting a tight end, and so get over that tight end tab. Fairly cheap David Njoku here, $4,200 here, and not only do I think he could be a top 2 target on the team, but we forget the Bengals. Everyone thinks they're the same exact team they were last year because the offense stays the same, and that's all we care about for fantasy typically. But they lost both their safeties. They lost Jesse Bates and Vaughn Bell. These guys, these 2 players, were number 1 and number 2 in snaps for this defense last year, literally playing 98% and 97% of the snaps. And now they just have to bring in 2 brand new safeties at less money because they lost them because the Saints, and I forget where Bates ended up, but they paid these guys big money. So if they're going to have new guys over the seams for this game, man, Njoku, I feel pretty good about it from a 1 week standpoint.
Yeah, I do like that. Certainly wanting to get a piece of that game, which I think, that game has the ability, Deshaun Watson's, certainly better than he was at the end of last year. I mean, that's always that's the thesis behind drafting him. Well, he can't be as bad as he was at the end of last year. So,
do you want to go with Philly Mike's pick right now just to get that done with? And I know it's going to be the most popular defense, but
yeah, that's the only pause I have with the Commander's defense. I mean, how high can they possibly get in something like this?
Let's put them in 40, right now. They're too affordable. That's the problem. I don't know why they're not. Yeah, we knew this team was going to be tanking. We knew this team was going to be trying to lose since they've released DeAndre Hopkins. So why are they priced this way? It makes it, you have to make at least one lineup with them in there, but they're going to be overowned. So let's put them in there, and then if we need to find some money or if we have extra money, we'll move it around.
Yeah, let's do that. And then looking, you took Njoku. So I'm automatically thinking, what am I going to do on the Bengals side here? Burrow's going to be priced up. Chase is going to be priced up. I'm obviously not interested in Irv Smith. I'm not interested in, for me, it would probably be T. Higgins.
Yeah. I mean, I'm for it, man.
It's 6,800 for what he could provide, as you can put up wide receiver 1 numbers. There's no reason why he can't. So I think it's relatively affordable there. And then what do you like as far as, anything else that we have to fill here? And obviously we can tinker with this. And these are some of the, Philly Mike's got some of the lesser options, like Deion Jackson's like the likely week 1 starter here at 4,100, 3K for Tutu Atwell. There's a $3,200 wide receiver that I think is just a stupid value right now. But I think he might be the chalk of the pay down options of wide receiver, and that's Marvin Mims.
Yeah, let's get him in there. Here's the other thing is that we don't necessarily need to stack this game. So if we're kind of wishy-washy right now on.
He's 3K. Sorry.
Yeah, he's free. So we're kind of wishy-washy right now on whether we want to put T. Higgins in there. Well, let's have him in there, and then if there's another game we want to stack, then we can always adjust. I don't have any. There's a couple of games for this particular one I don't have any interest in. I already mentioned 49ers Steelers. No, I'm done with that. Cardinals Washington, only starting Washington defense from that game.
What do you think about Brian Robinson as a correlation with that defense?
I just don't like the fact that he doesn't catch passes. This is our
GPT. He was catching passes and out there running routes in the preseason. That's the one kind of saving grace where he might get more than, more than we thought.
No. I just don't. Not in this particular one. We want even. The thing is that the corollary of this team's just going to dominate the other team, and they're just going to. Teams don't really just use one running back in those situations anymore. It used to just be like, okay, we'll just run this guy on the ground. If they go up big, we're going to see like Jarrett Patterson and whoever else is down that depth chart. So
Chris Rodriguez.
Yeah, we want a shootout where it's like back against the wall, and it's like Eckler and CMC and we want the shootout games, man. So let's what about this Rams Seahawks game?
That feels like one of those West Coast the late slate. That game could creep into like the Sunday night pregame where that game is still going on and Chris Sims is trying to do the highlights, and still, we're still talking about this game because there's 4 minutes left and it's 41-38.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I want. And especially because like everybody else, they don't have any players left. So you're just seeing every pass your guy catches, you jump up like 100 spots. Like that's the best, dude. Yeah. So let's check this out. Now, JSN probably out. Either way, he's got a broken wrist. So
yeah, and that consolidates that down to Metcalf and Lockett, really, for any serious options. No, not considering Noah Fant. Obviously, we have Njoku not playing double tight end, but that's pretty consolidated there.
And then their DK is only slightly more expensive than Lockett. That's right. That's the rub there. And I don't really think there's any matchups that we particularly want to avoid. It's not like this team has a Sauce Gardner that plays, 99% of his snaps out wide. Like they don't really have anybody we need to worry about. So it's just kind of straight up, who do we like better? I love Metcalf, but
right. Let me pull up just that game I was on it here. Yeah. Wide receiver. Yeah, Lockett's still 6,700. I thought he'd be lower, honestly.
Yeah, Philly Mike makes a good point. The thing is, he brings up Cam Akers and how he did finish last year with back-to-back 100-yard games.
He's league winner.
Yeah. Really, that's the time when it matters most. But I don't know, man. I don't know about him in this game.
We just don't know. That's the week 1 mantra, is we just don't know. Right. We're going to we're getting all the information. What we do know is that Seattle is locked in with JSN likely out to those two wide receivers. So
right.
that's kind of what we do know.
Let's put Metcalf in there, and if we need to find $300 somewhere, we'll go down to Lockett.
Do we want to put Geno in there as our quarterback?
I mean, I either want to go Geno or just go full Deshaun Watson, Amari Cooper. I already have a lineup in Philly with Amari Cooper. I like Amari a lot. So,
what's Watson? They're both the same, 61 to 6,000.
Yeah.
Put him in, and then if we need to find it.
Yeah. All right. Let's find some running backs. I want at least one like stud. And Joe Mixon's on the table. Bijan, maybe. Bijan's gonna be so popular.
That the couple of the lineups I already have Bijan and the Falcons defense, actually.
Interesting one. Albert, what's up, brother? How we doing, mate?
What's up, Albert?
Yeah. So let's do
That's my chalk beater as far as not playing the Commanders.
Let's go for a pay up RB here. Do you like Bijan? Put him in there. How much? What does it do to our budget?
Bijan gets us up to where we've pretty good flexibility, so we could still do a pretty decent running back and then kind of maybe a lower mid tier flex.
So
because of Mims being in there.
What's the update on Kendra Miller? Like, I feel like every other day he's either give a full go or completely injured.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he was just ruled out on like Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah. Well, how much is
that's
Jamal
what
Williams?
it seems?
Because you got the only concern is like Taysom Hill. But do you see Taysom Hill is listed on the depth chart as quarterback after all?
Yeah, you've seen there's a lot of blowback by FFPC because they changed his position on FFPC.
Oh, yeah. Really? Dude,
there's a lot of blowback, especially for like best ball, where he's been drafted as a tight end. And now when people are making their positional allocations based on the fact that he's a tight end, now he's a quarterback. So
yeesh, dude.
That is a bad precedent. But anyway, Jamal Williams 5,100.
Well, let's put him in there. What does it look like?
Got 7K. We got a pretty good flex.
And that's the flex. Okay. And remember, we have money to work with, or we can
we have a lot of them. Yeah. Where we could even put in Mixon.
Well, how much is Mixon?
68.
Well, I'm saying that we have money to work with. Like, for instance, if we wanted to go up to 7,300, we just switch out Metcalf for Lockett.
Right.
So if we liked Keenan Allen in there instead of Mixon, I kind of just like Mixon though.
Yeah, I don't mind Mixon at all in there. Trayvon's just coming back now. Right. I don't really see Chris Evans working his way into anything more than what, 1 or 2 carries, 10% of the snaps. I think Mixon's got that, at least for week 1, has that pretty locked up as far as every running back touch.
Yeah, it gives us correlation with the Njoku and Higgins.
Yeah. So do we have $200? That's Lockett was 68, right? You said. I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good on that one. Let's pop this puppy in there. So this is a GPP lineup, and I like the idea of using the guy like Marvin Mims. I don't know if I would use Mims in like a cash game lineup.
Right. He would be like if you've like Da Vinci coded this entire lineup, and then you have a perfect 3K left, maybe, but that would be the differentiator. Still in a GPP, you're talking, 30%, I would say, with Mims.
Yeah. So before we get into the next lineup, as far as week 1 goes, is Bijan the thing you're most excited to see for this week?
I'm excited. Yeah, that's actually one of the games that I'm very excited about. And no, really, I actually am. Just because I want to see how much Tyler Algier is going to work into the backfield there, knowing that the Falcons, obviously spent massive draft capital on a running back and then spent up a second runner to get Matthew Bergeron on the line. I'm interested to see if they're going to continue the Desmond Ridder pass hike, which he had 6 more pass attempts per game when Ridder was in the game versus Marcus Mariota last season. Because we talked about this on, or at least I talked about on the Flag Plan episode, which you could check out on YouTube. You can check out on fantasyalarm.com, the write-ups. adding like 100 pass attempts, which that equates out to be, if you're adding 6 more pass attempts per game, about 100 pass attempts. If Drake London is getting 25% of them, that makes at least one guy pretty damn viable, and that would likely be London. You could see that trickle over to Pitts too, but that's why I'm so high on Drake London. But I want to see, can this pass game actually be fantasy relevant, which that would certainly be if they're going to be passing the ball a little bit more.
Well, I think just the move, because we forget Mariota still a fairly mobile quarterback. Just the move away from Mariota, like there's no way they throw as little on the season as they did last year. It's not possible, right? Like that's when you ask the question of like what team has the biggest jump in pass rate, a team moving off a mobile quarterback is a perfect example. And on the flip side, what team runs the ball more? The cheat to that answer is the Colts. Because if you look at the teams that had the highest run rates last year, number 1 was the Bears. Number 2 was the Falcons. Number 3 was the Ravens. And number 4 was the Eagles. Like for questions like that, if we're talking about how it affects the running back, you almost have to take the quarterback carries out of the equation because it skews the numbers. The top 4 teams all had mobile quarterbacks. If you wanted to look at just running back run rates, now you have you need a different set of data. So, like questions like that, like, yeah, I think that they do. I think we see the Colts running the ball a lot more, even with Jonathan Taylor missing time, just because the fact that the quarterback's going to run it a ton.
Right. And if you look at teams that are going to run more, I mean, my pick is Packers. I think it almost has to be with looking at Jordan Love. At least I think they're going to spike up, and then maybe as the season goes on, they sprinkle in some more pass, but it's really going to be about comfortability, knowing you have 2 good running backs behind him without Aaron Rodgers audibling at the line. You see a Matt LaFleur offense, the way kind of he intended, which is, obviously we're talking about the Shanahan tree. We're talking about wanting to run the ball, with multiple running backs. So I think you're going to definitely see that there. And then as Love gets more comfortable, I mean, this is going to be the year for Love where is he going to be the franchise guy? And I think at least he's going to be handled with some kid gloves early on. We liked what we've seen in the preseason, but now we're into real games. Now we're into, nut cutting time here. So
yeah. And I think he wants AJ Dillon to be Derrick Henry so bad. Like that's what he's always wanted. I think
he might honestly, just be TJ Duckett.
I wouldn't be surprised if LaFleur, TJ Duckett, nice pull, dude. Falcons. TJ Duckett was awesome in NFL Street, if you remember that game.
That was the OG, like Thunder and Lightning, him and Warren done.
For sure. Yeah. So I saw the Juice had a question in the chat. Burrow is playing for sure, right? They haven't confirmed 100% yet. But Zach Taylor did say that he had a very promising day yesterday. He's been out there practicing. So unless we see a setback, then we're assuming he's playing. But yeah, that would certainly affect our putting Mixon and T. Higgins in a lineup. But yeah,
100%.
So for the let's do this is the
showdown for Thursday night.
Yeah, let's get into a little showdown action, man. And the question always for these ones, it's not it's so important to have the right captain, right?
Yeah.
Like to have the right crown guy. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you want to do a quarterback? Do you want to do Kelsey? Do you want to do Sam Laporta?
Do you know what I've been touting the last month or so? When we're talking about week 1 showdown and with the Thursday night game, it's been Sam Laporta all the way through because
I think the captain spot. I'm definitely he's definitely in this lineup. You might as well put him in there right now.
I think he might be amazing leverage against Amon-Ra St. Brown, against Kelsey, against Mahomes, who, if you're looking at the captain rates, Mahomes is going to carry 50%. Kelsey's probably going to carry 30%. Amon-Ra might carry almost the rest. You're going to look at low single digits for everybody else.
Right. Yeah.
So if you want a team, with showdown, you're only working with a limited player pool. So how many times is this lineup going to be duped? How many times is a Sam Laporta captain lineup going to be duped? So if we hit the nuts, it's us, and that's it.
All right, let's do a Sammy lineup, dude. I feel good about it, man. Like the thing about Sam Laporta, and why I love having him as my I have him in lineups. I'm starting in in my biggest hometown league. I took my QB1 that I drafted was Anthony Richardson, and my tight end one was Dalton Kincaid, and I'm not starting either of them. I circled back with my last 2 picks, and I took Goff and Laporta, and I'm going to start Goff and Laporta this week, which crazy business. Not starting my own tight end 1 and QB1. But the thing is, it's a long season. Those are season long picks. The moment the draft ends, I stop looking at it in terms of like, these are my guys, and I pick them in this order, and that's how I have to use them. Now you go right into matchups in a 54-point over/under game. Hell yeah, dude! Sign me up for that. And Dalton Kincaid, that should be a good game on Monday night, but he's going up against a good defense, right? And they're both rookies, so give me the guy that's got the better shootout potential. And also Thursday night games are fun. But the whole start your studs mantra, that only really applies to the top, your top 4, 5, 6 picks. After that, there's not that big of a difference between, where you got guys, and matchups are going to matter for your flex, for your wide receiver 3. So don't worry about who you drafted where. Just worry about giving yourself the best shot at winning this week.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we got Laporta in there as the king, which means
you still got to put. I think you still got to put Mahomes, no matter what.
Yeah, and Kelsey too. Why not? I mean, well, the thing is, when you use, because like if we had used Kelsey as the captain, that would have cost $1,800. You save $6,000 by putting him in a different spot there. So by starting somebody crazy as the top dog, you can kind of maneuver around.
You've got optionality. You got a lot of flexibility to pretty much put in almost whoever you want.
Now, one player I think is going to surprise people this year, and honestly shouldn't be surprising, but it's David Montgomery. And the thing about it is there's kind of 3 camps of Jahmyr Gibbs people. There's the people that think he's going to be amazing and just take over the full job. And then there's people that admit that David Montgomery will have half the job. And then there's people that, say he's a rookie and he's the backup. I fall in the middle group, and I think a lot of people do. Most people do. And when you have a quarterback like Jared Goff that has 0.0 interest in running it himself, and you have a offensive line like they do, that with Frank Ragnow and Penei Sewell is a very good offensive line, and you have a bunch of weapons that aren't necessarily red zone threats. Like, we love Amon-Ra St. Brown, but he's not particularly big, not particularly fast. Like, he's not – we saw last year, people talk about him getting tackled at the 1-2 yard line. You could say it's fluky, but you could also say there's a reason. There's a reason that Jacoby Myers doesn't score a lot of touchdowns and didn't score touchdowns for like 2 years straight. It's because he's not built like DK Metcalf, right? You're not throwing 22 end zone targets to Jacoby Myers the way you did DK Metcalf last year, and you're not doing that with Amon-Ra St. Brown either. Amon-Ra St. Brown straight up said, we need somebody that can go up and get the 50-50 ball. He said that himself, right? When they talked about like DJ Chark and Jameis Williams. And that guy really isn't there right now. So as far as goal line goes, don't be – people are like, oh, yeah, David Montgomery's not going to score 17 touchdowns like Jamal Williams did. Don't be surprised when he does score double-digit touchdowns either, though. So
right, yeah. And St. Brown has to be so efficient with his yards after catch because of his ADOT is so low. So now you have to introduce – he's got to get through another whole level of the defense to be able to hit a nut outcome. I mean, he can get there on targets and catches. I mean, he has, don't get me wrong, but when you run such a short ADOT, you have a larger kind of minefield that you have to weed through to hit the ceiling outcomes.
Bingo. Dude, so I've been tinkering with on my screen, different options here. And who did you put in the lineup there?
I put in Montgomery because I do like that.
Dude, so if you put in David Montgomery and Jared Goff,
that gets you 2,300 for.
Dude, so close to being able to get Noah Gray in there. And I just hope you did the Noah Gray shovel pass. Dude, $100 off. $100 off. And I don't think there's any way to finagle it either. Dude, you could start a lineup with better bosses guy, Richie James.
I thought about that.
He's banged up though now, right?
Yeah, it's tough. I would like to throw, Butker's 4,400.
Oh yeah, Geek Mill in the chat, dude. What up, brother?
What's up?
How we doing,
What's
man?
up, buddy?
Jeff, help us with this lineup here. We're trying to figure it out. So you want to get Goff out then?
That's probably if we're. Yeah, I would say Goff might be the guy that we can take out of there.
Chat, what Chiefs wide receiver you guys like?
It is don't say Rashi Rice.
Well, because the thing was, they already came out. So we have to use some deductive reasoning here.
Yeah.
Sky Moore is the guy. We know they said that he's going to be playing every snaps, every 2 wide receiver set.
Unfortunately, MVS is, I guess, a guy.
He's probably gonna. Well, that's.
I mean, he's going to be out there.
They came out. They came out and said Rashi Rice and Justin Ross are going to be package only players.
Yep.
Kadarius Toney's banged up. Richie James is banged up. I mean, as lame as it is, does that make MVS a value play? I hate it too.
We trust me. We know what MVS can do. We certainly know what he can't do as a Packer fan. But man, I mean, Justin Watson is out there too. That's the thing. But he is going to be he is literally the Allen Lazard of this offense. He is the run block du jour. If we got points for run blocking, Justin Watson would be a lock in the
star. Yeah. I don't know. I hate what Chad, how do you guys feel about kickers? I know we wanted Richie James, Philly, but I think
we're not touching those defenses with this over-under.
He's got a knee, Philly, with the Richie James theater. Otherwise, I would 100% love to get him in there. Geek says MVS. No defenses. Yeah, definitely no defenses, but
not in this economy.
And the kickers aren't even cheap, dude.
Right. Because Bucker's 48, I think. Yeah. 44. Riley Patterson's, and I'm not touching Detroit's kicker either. You know what the sad thing is? You want to know what's sad? CEH might be a consideration. No. I mean, I'm just saying because we know he's going to get run. That's the thing.
He'll probably score a touchdown, dude. And honestly, I'd rather lose than win money with CEH in my lineup.
Ain't that the truth?
Give me MVS and give me. I mean, dude, you start the most. We already have Sam Laporta as the top guy, so we could start.
Marvin Jones.
I was going to say, I'm looking at it right now.
The opposite wide receiver. I mean, it's either going to be him or Reynolds.
MVS and Marvin Jones. The fact that we put Laporta at the captain means we can do whatever.
We don't have to worry about. We don't have to put in Ty Freifogel or Craig Reynolds.
But you know that Josh Reynolds is going to score a touchdown too.
Of course, because
you got to look around and see who's going to be the guy that scores, and then everything's out the window. Brock Wright, no, anything but that.
No, James Mitchell, no.
Well, they lost.
I mean, McKinnon is moderately interesting, but. We have to then we have to go into how is the Chiefs backfield going to divide their touches, and that's a hornet's nest in and of itself.
Yeah, I don't want that. Let's go with this one. We could always circle back and make just a
Laporta Mahomes, Kelsey, and the Dusty Bunch. Let's go.
Noah Gray is catching a touchdown pass now. It's sealed in stone.
It's written in the stars because we put this in our lineup.
Yeah, Jack, Tony is the lotto ticket, but he hasn't played all offseason. When was the last time he even practiced? Is he practicing now?
I have no idea. I put this lineup in for I'm doing the 50K spy this weekend with Gino. I'm doing the premium double with Metcalf and Lockett. Higbee is my bring back at tight end.
Look at this. Jack,
this is full on galaxy brain.
Look at this, Pat. Just yesterday, Patrick Mahomes gushes over Kadarius Toney's return to Chiefs lineup, and Andy Reid said that he's good to go after a lingering knee injury kept him out.
Well, he's good for about 14 snaps.
Yeah, I know, dude, and one touchdown.
So, yeah, man. I mean, I'll go back into the showdown here because I do want to take a look because I do see the Khalif Raymond. Where are we? I mean, Khalif Raymond's right now, I think he's the 4th wide receiver. I mean, he's still going to get snaps, but I just don't think Marvin Jones is locked into probably percent
All
of the
right, well,
routes.
let's say we start the lineup with with Patrick Mahomes as captain. We'll do a second one. I just put that other one in.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes as captain, Kadarius Toney, and Khalif Raymond.
Mahomes.
Travis Kelce.
Oh, hold on. Mahomes, Kelsey, Tony.
Yeah. Khalif Raymond. This is the one where we just make the most fun lineup. Put Jahmyr Gibbs in there if we're just going for the most fun players, right?
This is a vibes-based showdown lineup.
Yeah, you know who fits. Don't even scroll down to see who fits perfectly in that last spot.
I have to scroll down. It's 3,700.
Do you see who it is?
Oh, dude.
I just said
this was a vibes-based lineup.
I just said I would rather lose than win money starting Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but he fits perfectly into this lineup, and no one else is even close. Why is he? It's just he's the only player at 36, even close to that range.
When you tell a story of Chiefs and Lions on Thursday Night Football, Week 1, when the Chiefs get their Super Bowl rings, I don't think you could tell this story without a Clyde Edwards-Helaire 2-touchdown game.
I know. Get him in there.
This is man. We went from vibes based.
This is why you don't let the chat make the lineup, dude. This is
ban everybody.
Yeah. No, I actually kind of like it, dude. Well, hey, shout out chat. If we win big money on that, I'll circle back.
Pizza
Philly,
party.
Yeah, pizza party. Philly, Jack, Geek. We got you guys. The Juice and Albert. If you guys are hanging around still. All right, let's do a cash game lineup. Very serious lineup. Like, let's say you were gonna let's not actually do it, but let's say hypothetically you were gonna play somebody heads up one-on-one. Your buddy's talking trash, and he's like, "I'm just straight better than you." One-on-one.
Yeah, I've got a buddy that's already talking trash on my text messages right now. So
yeah. So let's say your buddy's talking mad smack, and he wants to do a $500 just heads up. Or even $100 heads up is kind of psycho stuff. So let's go in. Don't make it a big
no, I'll just so we can at least see salaries and stuff.
Hypothetical, yeah. So let's say hypothetically, you're just going to make the safest a lineup that if somebody was going to challenge you head to head, you're just like, this lineup's airtight. In chat, let us know at any price point in the chat. Let us know players that you're just like, this guy is locked in no matter what. Like the floor is good no matter what, and the ceiling you like too. Like I almost feel like a guy like Devontae Adams is like just affordable enough. I mean, is he affordable?
Kind of. I mean,
I'm in the wrong section.
I guess kind of. I mean, 7,900. At that point, I would just rather take Jamar Chase.
Chat, you're putting what player would you put? Philly Mike says Joshua Downs. That is the complete opposite.
Honestly, Tyler Higbee.
Maybe Tyler Higbee. If I had to bet my life on somebody catching one pass, Tyler Higbee. Although Tyler Higbee last year on multiple occasions played 80% of the snaps and put up a straight up 0 in fantasy football.
He's got a good matchup with Seattle. I mean, Seattle's a great matchup. We know they play zone a ton. Higbee can literally sit in there.
Philly, that's the opposite of the answer we're looking for. Rookie slot wide receivers with a mobile quarterback playing his first game. That is a complete opposite, bro. Give me somebody that you think is actually truly safe.
That is what is the opposite of a cash lineup? A bankrupt lineup?
Right, for real. At running back, let's see. The guys that I like, that you could build that I would trust with my life: Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler. I think I would want to keep Bijan out for this particular one.
I think he's more. I do think he's more of a GPP play.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry,
J.K. Dobbins, man, against Houston.
It's just it's a brand.
I know, I get it, but if we're banking on the Todd Monken offense opening things up, we know J.K. Dobbins per carry on a.
Yeah, he's very safe. Yeah, okay, let's get him in there. And he's not that expensive.
No, he's very, dare I say, reasonable.
To the reasonable Kevin Tompkins. So this is a situation where I would start like if he was if he was healthy, Jalen Waddle would be like a perfect example. There you go, Philly. That's what I'm talking about. Josh Jacobs versus Denver. That's one where it's like
the 2022 DFS chalk donkey himself, Josh Jacobs. How many slates did he ruin last year?
Right.
Multiple.
This is okay. So this is the lineup where we start Amari Cooper, right?
Yeah.
5,800. He's affordable. He's clearly the number one. It's the same offensive philosophy as last year. There's not, we want as few variables in this. So in the other lineup, we want as many variables as possible. We want like that. We want to be able to take advantage of really underpriced players. If you're playing just somebody straight up heads up, you want as few variables as possible. And I feel like Amari Cooper is a great example.
You know, there is one person on this screen right now that is so horribly mispriced.
Who?
Brandon Ayuk. Against the Pittsburgh secondary.
Yeah.
49. Jordan Addison is $200 on him. Like what? Like I know week one pricing is kind of ridiculous, but
I can't believe
that seems like a big oversight. I mean,
I
look
thought
at the guys around him.
I thought Pittsburgh was going to sign Patrick Peterson, and then Patrick Peterson before the season started was going to retire. Like I thought that was going to end up being the case, that like after 17 different videos of Jahan Dotson just dunking on him in practice, I thought and like, you know, in the joint practices, and like George Pickens, right? Like George Pickens dunked on him all summer, right? It's just like
he's Vince Carter.
Right. So that's what I mean. Yeah. So like George Pickens been dunking on him all summer, and I thought that he was just going to be like, you know what, I'm done. But apparently he's going to start for the Steelers. So
Commanders have got to be in there, by the way.
Brandon Ayuk, yeah. Commanders defense, of course. Brandon Ayuk has got to be in there against, yeah. Levi Wallace and Patrick Peterson and Joey Porter Jr. Joey Porter Jr. better jump that depth chart.
Right.
Like,
yeah, there is like,
he had a good camp.
Talk about roadblocks, and then those are like barely speed bumps.
Oh, dude, look what Philly put in the chat. That might be too risky, but you're talking exactly my language, Philly.
Right.
Michael Thomas is more expensive than Amari Cooper.
I don't even mind Sutton at 5,200 either, for being honest.
Given the situation, yeah.
Right.
Oh no, Michael Thomas isn't more expensive than Amari Cooper. He's cheaper. A lot of the books this time of year, they make adjustments. They took down the odds for Jerry Jeudy, but they also took down the odds for Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
Meaning that money was coming in on the over.
Big time.
So,
had to be.
Yeah. What do you think about this team? Brad McCoy in the chat says, my 10-team PPR is Trevor Lawrence, Jahmyr Gibbs,
Assume it's Aaron Jones.
My guess would be Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, TJ Hawkinson, Chris Godwin. Jeez, what did you have? Only first? Did you have like 10
if this was
picks?
Twitter, it'd be like, was this a 3-team league, bro?
Yeah, it's 10-team league. I mean, so
yeah, that's how you do it.
Well, it makes sense though. He must have gone Jefferson, AJ Brown, Aaron Jones.
Yeah, maybe
Gibbs, and then Hawk and Godwin. Wow, yeah, that's a great team, man. That's a nice squad.
That's a stud squad.
Yeah. So Philly, totally agree. Again on Nico Collins, but this lineup we're making here, we're going for the safest possible players. And Nico Collins is more of a GPP play, in my opinion, where it's like, we don't know who it's going to be in that offense. We don't know if that offense is going to be any good, but I mean,
he'll be low owned.
Right.
100%.
And Philly, just like I talked about earlier with the Dolphins, this team is using the same philosophy. It came from the Shanahan coaching tree with the 49ers, where he says, I'm using the fullback for 50% of the snaps because the benefit of Kyle Juszczyk in the run game, in the pass protection scheme, and also honestly catching a couple passes here and there outweighs the need to have another weapon on the field. And they've been so successful with that the Dolphins took over the same thing. They used Alec Ingold 40-50% of the snaps. The very first thing that this Texans crew did, it's DeMeco Ryans and Bobby Slowick, who both came over from the 49ers. The very first thing they did was go out and get Andrew Beck, the fullback Andrew Beck, and he's played virtually every snap with the starters in this preseason. So we know they're using that same philosophy. And what happens with that philosophy is it benefits the running back, and if you use a fullback that much, there's no wide receiver 3. That's why we don't even think about the wide receiver 3 on the 49ers or the Dolphins. And now with this Texans team, there's going to be probably 2 guys playing a full snap share or nobody playing a full snap share and a lot of rotation, which is going to be great for whoever gets that job. But the problem is for this particular build we're doing is if Nico Collins isn't one of those 2 guys, then we're in huge trouble.
Yeah,
right.
We're sunk.
Yeah. So that's a great GPP play where you're trying to win $1 million. This lineup we're doing right here is like, I just want to beat my buddy one-on-one. So we're going to try and go a little bit safer if possible.
Yeah. And also my Andrew Cooper bingo card is reeling because you did not say Bobby Slowick worked at PFF.
Oh, geez, dude. You were ready to check that one off?
Shout out bingo. And I was like, oh, we're almost no.
Yes, we are so close. Yes.
Oh,
for those that don't know, that's why I've kind of been off Dameon Pierce, is that like Dameon Pierce graded outside the top 120 backs in pass blocking. And Bobby Slowick, who honestly, it's great news for us nerds, right, Kev? Because like the fact that he's the offensive coordinator for the 49ers, he worked at Pro Football Focus for like 3 years, right? So did our buddy Joey Cardolano, who still does some stuff for us at Fantasy Alarm. Like, there's hope. The real original great hope for us, it was Jordan Todman. Todman, where he ended up ruining everything by going on this it was a misogynistic type rant about when their closer, the domestic violence closer, it was a whole thing. He lost his job. But this guy was a finance guy in New York that figured out a formula for winning DraftKings in baseball. And he was so good at it that he quit his job to do it full time. And then he was so good at that teams, analytics groups around the MLB started reaching out to these people being like, hey, like, we think that the things that you figured out and the formulas that you have can help us. And he ended up getting hired by the Astros, and he made it all the way up to assistant general manager before blowing it all and getting fired. But like, that's the dream. Like, that's when you sit here and you say, hey, you know what? I'm actually pretty good at this. There's a precedent set for a couple people that come from the analytics community that end up being legitimate GMs and coaches. So just keep that in mind when you're putting Noah Gray in your lineup. This could be your big ticket.
Yeah. Keep that in mind when you call everything machine learning stats.
Well, dude, the thing is, when I say that, though, it's not a knock on them, Kev.
No, I know.
A lot of those stats are machine learning stats.
No, they are. I'm just,
Right. But yeah, so sometimes when I say it in a derogatory manner, I do sound like, like an I sound like Jack Edwards, the Bruins announcer. I'm just like, these kids with their composite sticks and their time on ice stats. He's like, I don't want any part of it.
Right. They can't measure heart.
They can't measure heart.
All right. So we got a quarterback, wide receiver, and a flex. We got 5,800 on average that we can spend here.
There you go, Philly. That's a potential one. What do you think about that? I mean, we do have the moving part here, of course, is Baker Mayfield. We want as few moving parts as possible, but I mean, Godwin.
Yeah. I mean, we can certainly, we're getting talent at prices that they shouldn't be right now. Like, we're getting bargains on talent. And that's, I mean, Minnesota's defense is dog.
The problem
not in a good way.
The problem that I want to do here, though, that has me pause a bit, is I want to have at least one stack. Well, I want to have one stack between a pass catcher and our quarterback. And if you look at our lineup, Brandon Ayuk, we're not going to start Brock Purdy in this one. Not against Pitt, right?
Right.
We're not going to start Matthew Stafford with Tyler Higbee.
No.
Are we going to start Deshaun Watson? I think that's still risky for what we want to do here.
I think so too.
Start Lamar Jackson against Houston.
Yeah, that would be the only thing, and then you're really leaning into.
Then we have to go super cheap with other.
And it's kind of a negative correlation too when you're talking about what we're expecting out of this offense with Todd Monken too.
Yeah, dude.
And that might have been a positive correlation last year, but now that we know what we know with this, how this offense is going to turn into.
Dude, for a GPP, Zay Flowers is only $4,000.
Yeah.
Sam Howell versus Arizona. That's a GPP play, I think, Geek, because I like the idea, but it could be bad. Like, who knows? That game might just be terrible.
Any other week, I would be touting Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith, but they're in New England.
Ooh, Philly, Gino.
That's
what about like Trevor Lawrence versus the Colts?
Stack them up with like, I mean, because what's Ridley at? Ridley 6,500 is pretty affordable. Let's go, let's go Lawrence and Ridley.
Yeah, and if we got to pay down, we could do Christian Kirk. Yeah. I think if we go Ridley, though, we have to start somebody who sucks.
Yeah, because we could always take somebody out, maybe.
What about Christian Kirk?
Down. Let's see. Yeah, what's Kirk at?
He's 5,600.
That's not even that much of a discount, really, honestly. I mean, I'd rather have Ridley at 65 than Kirk at 56 if we're being honest.
But dude, the players are so bad when.
No, I know. That's what you got to weigh too. Washington, by the way, Washington survivor pick. I think
I do like that, Jack. I do like that. I'm willing to do. The bigger the tournament is, the more willing I am to take risks in the early rounds, right? And the other thing about Washington is their schedule is brutal. So like if you don't use Washington like right now,
when are they going to get a chance to use them next?
Yeah, like they play. Not only are all the teams in the NFC East awesome, but they also play the AFC East.
Right.
And like even just going, they have to go to New England. So what should be the easiest game from that group might not be that easy of a game. And then you play the Dolphins, Jets, and Bills. That's going to suck. You play the Eagles twice. You play the Cowboys twice. You play the Giants twice. Also on that schedule is the 49ers, the Seahawks. There's like not a lot of wins in there when you start breaking it down. You know, it's like Cardinals, Broncos, and then from there on out, the schedule is bad. So Washington in Survivor week 1, that's what I'm doing. I'm willing to lose my entire season. And honestly, I got so much going on that if I lose my Survivor pool week 1, I'm like, great. One less thing I need to submit. You know what I mean? Like I got a lot of lineups to go. I got waivers for like 100 leagues. It'd be great to just get eliminated early. Mike Williams, 5,700, Kev.
What about Deion Jackson? And if we want to just keep our lineup as is and float in a starting running back at 4,100.
I think Zach Moss is out, right?
Well, he's likely out.
Yeah, let's do that. I like that.
So I mean, we're still.
I don't know where my.
And that's the bring back too on Jacksonville. I'm not the biggest, stack hungry and needing a bring back on there, but at least if we were going to bet on this game, it's not a bad bring back.
Yeah. Speaking of betting on games, Kev, I want to ask you while I got you here as a Packers fan, this Packers-Bears game, so much hype around this Bears team and Justin Fields and trading for DJ Moore and all this stuff. For the game to open up, this game, it's -2.5 in Chicago. Like, what happened to the whole revolution, Kev? What happened to the whole the bad man Aaron Rodgers is gone, and now the fun times begin? Like,
owner's out of town, man.
They're not even getting the full 3 points at home. Yeah, it's like, hey,
when the owner's away, the chalk donkeys will play. And
would you be willing to take the Packers to win, to outright win?
I'd take them outright to win. Yeah, I think in this game. I mean, I think it's gonna be clearly close. I mean, the line's what we're looking at right now. It's a pick 'em basically.
Right now, you can enjoy the season that I had the last couple of years as a Patriots fan, where like the expectations are so low now that you just sit back and when you do win a game, you go, right? You're
like all right,
you beat the Bills. You're like, that sucks. I don't even care. Like, I know we're not winning anything, but I'm like, I don't really care. And it's like, oh, I thought you guys were good now, right? Like, it's a different type of trash talk now.
It's all house money now,
right? We already got all the trophies, and we're like, oh man, I thought you guys were good now. We're still better. Is that what's up? So
yeah, exactly.
those are become funny games. All the pressure is on the other teams now. Like as a Bills fan, I know Bills fans are all happy-go-lucky, and they lost 4 Super Bowls in a row, so you can't really kill them because they're already dead. But right now, their back is against the ropes, right? Like the seat is so hot, and the need to win immediately is so, like, it's so palpable that, like, personally, I'm in on Dalton Kincaid, but if he were to just be a complete flop and they were to trade up in the first round for a guy that did nothing, as a Patriots fan, I would sit back and be like, oh man, you hate to see it. So,
Right.
right. So we'll see on that, man. Anyway, all these Philly Mike OG, I might just go back through the comments and take all Philly Mike's guys that he just named, like Raheem Mostert, and make another
Just to make a
GPP
Philly
team.
Mike lineup.
He's got a big Philly Mike's got a nice GPP picks there. So I might go back and circle back on that. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Jack, Philly, Manny, the whole gang, Geek. Thank you guys. We appreciate you guys, man. This is the last lightning round before kickoff. So, Kev, anything else you want to say to the folks out there before we get going? And next week we are dissecting actual football versus rampant speculation we've been doing all offseason.
Yeah, I mean, I do like this DFS talk. I think we need to make that a weekly kind
like
of
it.
thing here.
Fun,
And we'll
man.
have Britt, and I'm excited. But let's, I'm going to be doing the target report on Fantasy Alarm this year. Very excited to do that. Check that out in the archives on Fantasy Alarm. Obviously, put out the understanding and importance of targets and target share and all the wide receiver metrics that go into that. So that's kind of like a nice primer. But Coop, I know you're doing a lot of stuff, obviously, this season.
Just today, keep out today. Right after this, we've got the Fantasy Alarm, the Alarm Fantasy Football Show. It's me, Howard, and John and Pemba. And then right after that, I'm finishing updating our Week 1 rankings, and I'm gonna have my tight end article, just a last yin and yang update. Those are both gonna the yin and yang is gonna be free. The rankings are obviously for the members behind the paywall. So we're gonna jump. We'll catch you guys next week. Good luck with all your lineups. Hit me up on the Discord, on Twitter, on the next show with any questions you have, and we'll get you all squared away for this year and for the first week. So cheers, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us.
Toodles.